Hey Clone Club, this is Mel again, and I'm here to talk about episode 305 titled Scarred by Many Past Frustrations that aired May 16, 2015. Now, in this episode, Rachel and Allison are both absent, with Cosima playing the side plot role to Sarah's major storyline with Helena. So with Cosima, we see her first date, and I believe she called it a sapphire date, which I'm assuming is an online dating site she used. But anyways, her date is a woman named Shay, and she's played by Kinsea Solo. I believe I got that right. And I'm familiar with her through the show Lost Girl, where she played Kenzie. Now, her two characters, Kenzie and Shay, are complete opposites in every way, I think. Down to their hair, down to their clothes, and I even think to what they do for a living is completely different. But anyways, so during this date, we learn the basics of Shay, and she even gets Cosima to open up about her recent breakup with Delphine. Sorry about that. Eventually, they do kiss back at Felix's place, but the very mysterious thing about Shay is that there is someone watching her. At one point in the episode, it showed a point of view shot through a camera lens, and it was focused on Shay. Now the question is, who is on the other side of that lens? Does Shay have a stalker? Is she being spied on by some government official? Is she wanted by the cops? And they're doing surveillance on her, and that's who's behind the camera. And is Shay aware that she's being watched? One thing is for sure is that I really, really hope that Shay is not connected to Dyad or to Castor in any way. It would be devastating to find out later on that Shay is undercover, with her initial mission being to get close to Cosima. We already saw that with Paul, Delphine, Donnie, and Mark. I really don't need to see that with Shay. And it'd be nice to have Cosima have something that wasn't clone related. So let's go into the side plot of Felix, Mrs. S, Art, and Gracie. Now, Gracie found Art after getting kicked out of her home through Sarah, who gave her Art's info when they met at the diner. So basically, Gracie told Sarah where to find Mark, and in return, Sarah told Gracie how to find Art in case Sarah couldn't be of help. So Art takes Gracie to Felix and Mrs. S's to help her assimilate herself into the world that Gracie was denied. And in doing so, Felix and Mrs. S haven't heard from Sarah yet, so that's why they agreed to help Gracie to kind of fill the time. Now, old photos of Felix and Sarah were found, and history about Mr. S was revealed, and quite frankly, I was stunned by that news. For some reason, it didn't occur to me that Mrs. S was married, despite the name. I mean, I always thought the moniker Mrs. S was just a shortened nickname that Sarah and Felix called their foster mother. So, during Gracie's makeshift party with dancing and drinking, she collapses. Initially, I thought that Gracie drank too much at once and her body just reacted badly to it. Next thought I had was that if Gracie hadn't miscarried before back at the farm, she surely did now after all that craziness she tried to consume in such a short time. So the paramedics were brought in, and they find Gracie's eyes to be bloodshot, and I think it was quite excessive. That gave me an supernatural-esque kind of feel, like the vampire eyes from the Vampire Diaries when the blood pools into the whites of the eyes. Now, I only bring up the eyes because we discovered through Art that the woman that reported Rudy and Seth to the police about collecting her hair and collecting her information, she was also experiencing the bloodshot eyes. She even tells her that she thinks that the clones had gave her something to cause the eyes. Now that has me wondering, the only thing this woman and Gracie have in common is that they had sex with a Castor clone. Gracie slept with Mark, and that woman definitely slept with Rudy, though not Seth. I'm assuming not Seth because of her reaction to Seth joining her and Rudy. So what could this possibly mean? Do the clones infect the woman somehow? Is it temporary? Do the clones even know that such a reaction happened? So let's move on to Sarah and Helena, who are both hostages at the Castor military camp. Helena still believes that Sarah sold her out, despite Sarah's attempts to tell her otherwise. And we did learn a bit about Sarah's time before the series started in regards to her mindset about being a mother towards Kira. I thought it was great to see Sarah share this history with Helena and for us as viewers to get that inside glimpse of pre-series Sarah. While I wish we saw flashbacks of this time, hearing about it is a great alternative. So far, together, Sarah and Helena find a way to escape, and I think it's very clever how they managed to go about it. But unfortunately, Helena turns on Sarah by leaving her behind in her cell as Helena escapes. Helena declares them even now, I believe, since she believes Sarah sold her out, so Helena's leaving her behind. I thought that was kind of sad, though. But I wanted to quickly talk about Helena, because this season truly shows the survivor that is Helena, especially in this episode, when we see Helena handle her situation through an analytical way. She's not broken down, she's not giving up, she's not wallowing away, being sorry for herself. She's strategizing and learning the camp's patterns so that she can determine a way out. Helena is truly a complex character. One minute I think she's immature and sheltered based on how she perceives the world in a childlike manner. But then there are times like this episode where I'm reminded that Helena is practically a soldier, a survivor that has suffered far worse and has come out on top. I mean, sometimes it's easy to forget that Helena was the sniper that was killing the clones back in season 1. Now, in regards to the Castor clones, Rudy, Mark, and Miller are all at the camp. We see Rudy when the baby skeleton was being examined by Dr. Silver. We see Mark in the camp infirmary as he recovers from the bullet wounds that he got from Gracie's mother. And then we see Miller in charge of guarding Helena and Sarah. It's Miller who sounds the alarm once he realizes that Helena had escaped. Now on to Sarah. Aside from interacting with Helena and then sassing off to Dr. Coetti, sorry for the yawn, Sarah finally comes face to face with Paul, who isn't thrilled that Sarah is there. Paul wanted Sarah far away from Castor. He was even willing to work with Helena so that Sarah didn't get sucked in. Loyalties are questioned by Sarah to Paul, but it seems like Paul cares for both clone groups. Paul views the Castor clones as family, as brothers in arms, while with the lead clones, I believe Paul is protective of them because of Sarah, and possibly because of Beth too. And I have to say, I love this interaction between Sarah and Paul. I've shipped those two since the beginning, especially since episode 107, and I got the impression from this scene that in the episode 305 that Paul would do anything for Sarah. He'd always side with her and do what needed to be done to help her out in any way he could. For Paul, it seems like he views her distance from him as the safest thing for her, and he's okay with not being near her if it means she's safe, if that makes any sense. But that's what I got out of the episode for those two. Now, I think I covered everything. So let's go on to predictions, which will be very short since I have nothing really to predict, and that's something I love about this show. I'm always left guessing. But anyways, based on the little teaser at the end of 305, in 306 we will see Allison and Donnie return, and Jason will be with them. I sense an affair between Jason and Allison since they are exes, and maybe being in the drug business together could spark some old flames between them. Cosima hangs out with Shay, and Sarah is brought up by Shay, which shocks Cosima. Now, I'm thinking Shay saw notes to or from Sarah or a text message alert on Cosima's phone screen from Sarah, something innocent along those lines, and not like Shay's asking because she's fishing for Sarah info. Now, Felix officially meets Rachel, who is still recovering from that pencil stabbing. And I can't wait to see how Felix reacts in Rachel's presence. Because so far, his only impression of Rachel is whatever Cosima and Sarah tell him about her. And then there's Sarah, and she seems to be suffering from something that worries Paul. And something medical. It's like she's not like she's caught a cold, but it's far worse. It's something that needs to be looked into. And I believe whatever is happening to Sarah, it causes her to hallucinate about Kira. So many questions from that teaser, but I guess I just have to wait and see what happens in the episode. So what do you guys think of this episode 305? Where do you think this season will go? Sorry. And which clone do you want to see more of? Or which clone do you think we should be introduced to? And that's another thing. I can't wait to see more clones be introduced or to see the returning of previous clones. I can't wait for that. So I'm excited to see more of what happens this season, and I can't believe that half of the season is already over. Where has the time gone? So that said, don't be afraid to leave a comment below if you want to talk Clone Club with me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with other Clone Club members that you know. So until next time, bye guys.